Welcome, everybody, here to the Reservation Roundup. A 446 Sports production of the Dan Christman Show. Yeah, you like that, huh, Coach? I am Billy French, honored to be your voice of Tioga football. Always with me, my color commentator to my left, 2 seats over from Coach Christman, Coach Thomas Scully. Thank you, Coach, for coming aboard here. We're glad to have him here this year. Also behind the camera, he said he's got a face for radio, but I think he does a great job. Our producer, Shane Henry, making sure that we're running smooth and everything. Again, big night here. We're talking football with Coach Dan Christman again here on Reservation Roundup. And, Coach, a big game last week against a very good opponent. There was good things, and as a coach, which I know we talked a little bit about, there's always things to clean up. We didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but, man, these young men played.
Well, it's a compliment to them. When the opposing coach comes over and says, Coach, they played extremely hard, and y'all played really well. Y'all gonna be real good this, in a few weeks. So I believe that, and it's just a process that we got a lot of sophomores and young kids out there, and it takes time.
Absolutely. Hey, look, I'll tell you what, we started up hot, absolutely just on fire on the offensive side. Defense played fantastic. There was a lot of real big tackles. We'll go over some stats and stuff here in a little while as well. But, Coach Scully, I'm telling you, we talked about it, and we were excited right after that first score, right? Case Malone chunks it over there. Curvin Johnson just absolutely on a rope. And it was great starting off the game right there on that offensive side.
Absolutely. I mean, we did a great job of finding the open man, and Case did a great job of throwing the ball where nobody was. And, after that first touchdown by Curvin, then they doubled him. Yep. It was almost a basketball game. They had 2-on-1 the rest of the night, Coach. And, so that left 9 guys against your 10. And, the success was there, and we continued to move the ball. And, up until the third quarter, we were in it. We were ahead. We were doing everything. Both sides were clicking really well. And, that's in your first game coming out against a team like that with that many guys returning, you got to be happy about how the performance was Friday night.
Oh, I'm extremely happy with that. At the end of the day, the results really doesn't show the effort and the dedication the kids showed going into that game. I really thought the kids played as well as they could possibly play. And, every game you're going to have mouth.
Yep.
And then you're going to have to respond to that. And for the most part, they did that.
It was fun to watch. Case Malone, 3 touchdowns. Curvin Johnson, 2 receiving touchdowns, 214 yards on 7 catches. Christian Isles got into the end zone for Tioga, which was great to see that young man. Christian, him and I, we fist bump every time we see each other. I love that kid. He is phenomenal, a very good football player, but even a better person, if you can say that for a young man like that. Very respectful, just love him to death. And so nice to see him get involved in that offense. It seems like he is that, in my eyes, that Wes Welker type, when you need a first down on third down, that he's always going to come through. And he's such fun to watch that young man play.
Yeah, he works in the slot. He works in the slots for us, and he's kind of like he's kind of like an army knife. We can put him at H, we can put him at Y, we can pull him and block, we can throw him the ball. So he does a little bit of everything.
Yes, sir. And Kenny Ponche had a great night running the ball. We didn't, we scored so fast with the passing game, it kind of gave Kenny a break, and we were able to put Kenny on that defensive side, Coach.
Yeah, and the thing with that, with you playing guys both ways, Coach, they really played with just unbelievable energy. The energy that you guys came out with on Friday night, it was the same energy we saw the week before at Northwestern in the Jamboree. But to know that they had to go 4 quarters, Coach, they left it all out on the field. And as a coach, that's what you want. You want, hey, look, all I'm asking you, leave it all out on the field. The end result will be what it is. But, man, when they walked off that field, Coach, they had nothing left in their tank.
And that's all you can ask. Mm-hmm. You look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, did I give everything I could do? And for the most part, yes, all of them did. And it is a compliment to the junior high coaches, to all the Red River coaches, that ingrain that type of stuff in them early. And look, it's just a pleasure to be around those guys. You know, they work really, really hard.
Well, you mentioned the feeder schools, the junior high. Coach Travis Racine at the junior high has set a standard down there. And I say this every year, but what I love is he runs your guys' offense as far a lot of the same stuff that you run in the high school. That way, when these 7th and 8th graders get to that 9th grade, there's not a debacle. It's hard to find what kind of offense they're going to. Just really built a program down there, and they win that that district in the junior high almost every year, or if not, they're competing for that district title. And it's fun to watch them translate from that junior high to these kids. And you're going to see a lot of these starters on this team right now play for Coach Racine and one district.
Travis does a real good job there, and it's just growing. He's doing just a good job with them, and they're developing the kids. They now have a 7th-hour athletic hour. I call it an athletic hour, and now they're in the weight room twice a week. So in time, that's just going to benefit the kids moving forward.
Again, feeder, with its open enrollment, it's so important to have a strong and a very good football team in the junior high that translates over to the high school. That way these kids just don't shoot, and you've got so many kids that go to the junior high that that's 100% dead set on coming to play for you.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but the truth, great leaders in those schools. So and you cannot beat the facilities and what we can give to the kids.
Well, I heard the junior high assistant principal is really awesome. I was told that she's fantastic, so I know that's got to pay dividends.
Hey, that's my end.
Those of you that don't know, that's Coach Christman's wife. So a little shout out to the junior high. Go ahead, Coach.
No, Coach, when I was sitting here just thinking, we against a really good Sterlington defensive line that returned majority of their defensive line, and you basically brought in 4 new starters, of course, with Landry anchoring down the middle, but you had 4 young men in there along with Landry Friday night just battling and moving and giving Case enough time. Tell us a little bit about how that has progressed, with these young guys.
Well, Tucker's a good leader, and he leads by example. He leads by example in practice, and they're growing every day. Well, actually 2.
You have
Coach Brumfield and Coach Book. Coach Book demands that they do everything together. So it's really. He's really both a fine man and fine coaches, and they help in the development of these kids.
And you'll get to talk to them. We'll talk to them in the third segment. They're going to come in, and Coach Brumfield and Coach Book will come, and we'll talk to them a little bit about that. Switching a little bit over to the defensive side, man, and I'm not saying that because his dad's our producer, but Cohen Henry had himself a night, did he not, Coach?
He made all the right checks. He puts us, and there's a lot more to it than just line up and go tackle the guy. Especially up front, and 21 tackles.
Ooh, 21 tackles.
And, at the end of it, that's all you can ask. The young man did everything he could possibly do. And when he went down with cramps, if you notice, that's when they really started gaining some yards in the game.
Yeah, when you lose that leader, it's tough to get that middle, especially that Mike Line.
The cramping upstairs a little bit. People don't realize not only was it a warm night, amplifies that heat, probably 15 to 20 more degrees. And so it doesn't reflect how hard. It just basically shows that you guys were playing so hard. They were working so hard. They were trying to, I'm talking all 11 hats to the ball on defense all night long. There wasn't not one guy standing around when the ball was when it was snapped. And Coach Muter you're talking about Coach Book demanding. Coach Muter demands the same thing
Yeah,
on that
he
defensive
does.
side with those other assistant coaches. They want 11 hats to the ball, and they did it. And you could hear it in their voice up in the press box. We're going to keep battling. And you said it, and we talked about it on the show. Every time they punched us in the mouth, we turn around and punch them right back in the mouth. And, to be leading after the third quarter by 4, going into that third quarter, the chance was there, and the defense they did a phenomenal job for those first 3 quarters, and then when the cramp monster came along, then it was a whole different ball game then.
Yeah, it's about depth. It's about the conditions that were out there. It was pretty hot now, and where we had a bunch of kids going both ways, they didn't.
Right.
And so it's kind of swinged to them, but I can't ask any more than what we got now. We got another tough one coming up. So.
Yeah. Absolutely, and we talk about what character this builds. Playing a team that good in that first game, you made mentions like, man, it would be a really fun matchup week 4 against a Sterlington team when we've got things rolling. The temperature's a little bit better. I agree 1,000% on there. I think it would be very beneficial for us. I think it would be a completely different outcome than what it was last week. Now, again, a 47-31 loss. Not how you want to start off week 1. However, man, there were some really good things that happened on the defensive side. Like I said, we talked about Cohen Henry having a great night. Joe Rose had a great night. Jackson Tarver had a great night. AJ was in the backfield all night long, playing both sides of the ball pretty much all night as well. Yeah. And then Mo Abdeldati did a great job of coming in, filling in, and of course Chase Thomas was wreaking havoc, from that defensive line.
I thought the defensive line did an extremely job with that stop. They had to hunker down and take them on, and because they do a lot of cut blocking, and so they just had to take those on and then eat as many blockers up so our linebackers can make plays. So, and it worked out. It really did. I promise you, those boys were starting to know where they were at after that game. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And you take, for example, the Birch kid, the fullback, number 6. He was. It seemed like he was all over the field, but for him to have 20 carries and a little over 100 yards, that says a lot about what that D-line did to him, and to keep him contained, along with all the linebackers, Cohen and Ponche and Fall, to keep those guys, to keep him contained. Of course, Hickman, the tailback, he had a few more yards than that, less carries, and he was the one that when they got on the goal line, that's the guy that they were giving the ball to. But for the most part, Birch was the workhorse for them, and we just did a great job of just stuffing that veer. When they, like Coach Muter mentioned, after the game to me, he said, we were right there. It's just we were so focused on the dive. Sometimes the quarterback would get loose, and then that's where the quarterback gained his yards. And that's the chain mover right there. When he can keep it, get 3 or 4 more yards. And then they just kept moving the chains, and it seemed like we were on the field defensively in the second half a lot more than we were in the first half.
We were. It reminds me of when Nebraska was really rolling national championships, where they would average a bunch of yards. But the main thing is they were trying to get 4 yards. If they on first down, if I got 4 yards, second down, it comes third down. And Sterlington's quite like that. First down's important to them. And they only ran 3 or 4, what I could say. They ran the veer, they ran, the toss, and they ran the counter. Yeah. That was the basic of all their plays that they run. So,
yeah, they wasn't going to fool you, but they were very good at what they do.
They are. That's why I said it's similar to Nebraska. In fact, the offensive coordinator there was the quarterback at West Monroe when they won their first state championship. So that's that same style of offense. So, I thought John and the defensive staff did a real good job slowing them down. Not many people do.
Absolutely.
And I was just proud of the overall effort. And we got to clean some things up on special teams. We got to clean some things up and get ready for another tough opponent.
Yeah, going into special teams, that was the next thing I was going to talk about. Ethan didn't have the best night kicking, but we did have really good special teams on returns. Tarver did a great job. Karlinski had a couple of pretty good ones. So special teams, I know when the time comes and we need Ethan to be there, Ethan will come through. The young man is a phenomenal kicker.
Yes, all district.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so that first game jitters and he can get it past, you throw that aside and you move on. And short-term memory, I'm sure that young man has learned to be a kicker in this district.
Well, I could tell you this. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the district. So,
I agree.
We can all fuss and cuss or do whatever, but at the end of the day, he's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm not worried about it. We just need to coach him a little better and execute a little better. We'll be all right.
Absolutely. So, again, tough game against Sterlington week 1. Reservation was packed, buddy. I mean, everybody was there. Everybody's excited about Tioga football, rightfully so. Offense comes out there and just lights it up. Defense plays good the whole game. Not with the outcome we wanted, but, man, I am so excited about the way this Tioga team is getting better and what they're going to continue to do for the rest of the season. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about tomorrow night's opponent, the Leesville Wampus Cats, and kind of go over a little bit of what they do here. This is a Reservation Roundup live at Quebedeaux on 446 Sports. We'll be right back.
Central Louisiana. This is your home for live sports action. From the field to the court, 446 Sports delivers the games you love with expert commentary and passionate coverage. Cheer for your favorite athletes and relive the moments that define our community spirit. Our sponsors keep us in the game. Together, we bring you the best in local sports coverage. Join the 446 Sports family today. Watch, cheer, celebrate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. .446 Sports, where Central Louisiana comes to.
Are home problems turning your life upside down? Trust Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to save the day. From keeping you comfortable to plumbing repairs and even generators, we do it all. Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, your one-stop solution for AC, plumbing, and generators. If you need us to save the day for you, call Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing or visit us online at southernairnow.com.
Yeah, so what happened out there tonight?
We struck out at home with leftovers, then we remembered walk-ons.
What effect did the situation have?
Spirit soared. Nick took on a burger. Jen obliterated her ribeye po' boy. And speaking of spirits, Laura even scored a real tasty cocktail. She needed that.
Any lessons learned today?
Stretch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers, and cocktails. Walk-ons for the win.
During National Cataract Awareness Month, Wallace Eye Associates is joining the American Academy of Ophthalmology to help prevent blindness by offering complimentary cataract screenings. If you're over 65 and noticing unusual changes in your vision, our free screenings can help determine if you have cataracts. Call us today to schedule your complimentary cataract screening. When it's time for cataract surgery, there's only one team, one focus, your vision. Wallace Eye Associates.
We've all seen how quickly things can change. Everything from the world around us to the cost of things we use on a daily basis. That's why we all need someone in our corner to keep our family protected while still watching out for our pocketbook. I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Reservation Roundup live at Quebedeaux here in Pineville. This is a 446 Sports production of the Dan Christman Show here at Quebedeaux every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Wish we could get a camera view, but you just need to be here to see it. This place is packed with Tioga people. Appreciate Quebedeaux for what they do here. Remember, when you come here and you got your Tioga gear on, they give you a special menu. It's very, very cheap, affordable food, and the food is phenomenal. You can see some of the stuff here. We've got the onion rings. Coach, hold up those the special. Those are called Tioga Wings. They only make them here for the Reservation Roundup. Man, they look good. We're all afraid to eat them because we're on camera. But, man, so definitely come in. They give you so much food here. We appreciate Antonio and the crew here at Quebedeaux every week, Thursday night. Now, again, like we had said, the only time we're not going to have the Reservation Roundup is when we play on Thursday night, which is twice this year. So that, and when we do the homecoming, we'll be at the homecoming parade this year at the Columns again. So, but appreciate everybody tuning in here. We talked a little bit about Sterlington last week. We move forward, we throw that behind, and we do short-term memory on that. Now we are mindset on the Leesville Wampus Cats, a familiar opponent. Yes. We've played familiar coach, very good. Coach Causey over there has been there for a long time, and he's built a phenomenal program at Leesville. Tell us a little bit, I know off air you kind of talked to us a little bit, but tell everybody that's watching a little bit about what Leesville, the similarities.
Well, they're really similar to what we do schematic-wise. Offensively, they're fast and wide, just like we are. Defensively, they run a 4-3, just like we do. Now, there's little tweaks and little things that every program that they do a little different. They do a fantastic job getting their kids in space and getting them the ball. So we're going to have to be really good tacklers of the ball carriers Friday night. And then they spread you out and they try to run the ball.
Yeah, the quarterback, they got their returning quarterback coach. He was a junior last year. Brome comes back. And last week, they actually got beat as well by Sam Houston, 50-28. Yeah. So they're coming in at 0-1-2, hungry for their first win of the 25 season. But Brome last week, he did a great job not only throwing the ball, but he loves to scramble as well.
Right.
And I noticed that. But he's got a really good target besides the running back. And the young man that he had, Braxton, is the guy that runs the ball. But Brown was the guy who threw some really good receptions to during the Sam Houston game. What did you see on film that you liked in our favor going into this matchup this week against the Wampus Cats?
What I like? I don't know. I don't know about that.
Don't give too many secrets, though.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, you have to try to stop the run. And you know, and I believe that you need to try to make somebody one-dimensional, if all possible. If they can run and pass you, it's going to be a long day. So we're going to see. I feel like Coach has a pretty good game plan, you know, and we'll see. They have some talented kids. The running back's good, and the number 4 is good. And that number 5, actually, the H-back, he's the only, I believe he's the only two-way player. And he plays a little Y or H, whatever you want to call it. He plays some outside linebacker. So they got some skilled people. Yeah. And then, you know, Causey's always going to do a good job. He's a good fella.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we went to Leesville last year, and it was an absolute barn burner, just back and forth, back and forth. They had Ford last year. And that, you know, same thing, kind of got into late into the third quarter, early fourth quarter, fumble here and there, and it kind of changed the trajectory. But it was, they scored, we scored. They scored, we scored, just kind of punching each other in the mouth. This time they come to the reservation, and I'm excited to see this new Tioga team take on, again, an old district rival back in the day, you know, when we had DeRidder and Leesville in the same district as us. Grew up with them in our district, and always fun to play Leesville. You know, the Wampus Cats never understood the name, but I always had that rivalry, even though I know it was always big Tioga Pineville when I was a kid. But Leesville was that school that always came in prepared every year, always was well coached. They were good at every sport, and it frustrated me, you know, when I was a kid. It's like, why are they good at everything? And so, again, coming in, familiar coach over there, of course, Coach Cook is over there doing the linebackers. So good to see him when he comes back to the reservation. But, you know, they got a kid by the name of Combs, their free safety, had 10 tackles, an interception last week. And so I'm excited to see Case in this offense, you know, run it down their throat and maybe go over the top. And it's nice to have a Kervin Johnson and Angelo Shelton that can really be hard on a defense.
Well, and there's only so many ways you can play. You could either try to help out, you get them help with safety over the top, and then if you do that, then you better, the box is now emptied a little bit. So those guys that are opposite of Kervin, they have to be productive, and if they are, you got a better chance of moving the ball.
Yeah, and I tell you, going back to D'Angelo, he did a great job of that, of helping him out the other night, and I thought Case did a great job of looking him off once they started double teaming, and of course Ponche being back there just waiting to put the ball in his hands, but to be able to have D'Angelo on that other side and to be able to get him the ball whenever you want, he's always another threat, and it's not many schools have that opportunity. Coach, you have that luxury of having multiple guys, not only just D'Angelo and Johnson, but you've got some guys that came off the bench Friday as well and did a great job of catching the ball and moving the ball down the field.
We are young, but they're growing after every practice. Every practice they're growing. After every freshman JV game, I see growth in the kids. So it's starting to show up, and the more they grow, we can get them in, and it creates that depth that we're talking about.
Yep.
And you got Christian Isles in the slot.
Yes.
And nice to have that kind of deal. And, of course, you know, Case, not only can he throw it, but he can tuck it and run. He's not afraid of contact. You got big A.J. Adams out there blocking, but that helps tremendously on opening up a whole lot of stuff. You have so many weapons that it's very hard for a defense to kind of adjust to what you can do because you can throw so much. And what I love is, like we said, after that first touchdown by Kervin, they double-teamed him. And towards the end of the game, they were triple-teaming him. They even had the linebacker feeding over there with the safety over the top and the DB. And, again, when Angelo can start really developing, and he's gotten better and better every game, Angelo Shelton, it's nice to have that kind of luxury. And then, you know, one day when Mr. Tarver Landry comes back from his injury, that's just going to be another you know, dagger in that offense.
Well, the kids like Christian Isles, who caught the touchdown, he ran a little drag concept, and we hit him right. Actually, Case was pressured, and he threw a dime to him, and it was a good play. It was a real good play. So the more that those kids can, develop that relationship with the quarterback, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah, and you even had Jeremiah Hunter, if I'm not mistaken, came in and caught 3 or 4 balls in a row. And D'Angelo was struggling with the cramps. And you got to give it to D'Angelo right before half when they scored on that kickoff return. D'Angelo showed such effort of chasing that young man all the way down into the end zone. And then after that, he really never recovered from going out with cramps. But then you get Jeremiah coming into the game, and look, Case never thought twice. He kept throwing it over there. He made great catches, moving the chains.
Soft hands. You could tell he's got really good hands.
And so it had to make you say, look, here, this is what, he had the opportunity. He had his chance under the lights, and boy, did he perform.
Well, he did. And he's been playing, this would be he played Monday night as well. So, the more reps he gets, the more times they're out there and they get that experience, the better off we're going to be in the long run. So, yes, to answer your question, he's getting better every day we go to work. He comes out there and he's getting better.
It was fun to watch Kenny. Again, Kenny didn't break any long, big runs, but, man, he put some punishment out there. He lowered the shoulder, and he let that Sterlington defense know who he was. They knew Kenny. I promise you, I know they're North Louisiana, but I guarantee you they could pronounce that kid's name by the end of the night.
You're probably right. We're a little different than most offenses with this fast and wide. You have to stop the pass, but then it opens up the run. If you have to double team somebody, it just opens those lanes for you. And then he's kind of a hard guy to handle when he's sticking it up in there. He's kind of stout.
Absolutely. And, and then he's running behind A.J. most of the night, especially in between the tackles. You got that sixth lineman getting in there. And, again, with the way that Ponche runs that ball, Coach, he's north and south. We talked about that before. His north and south with them legs moving. Billy's right. He had one big run, but the rest of the night it was 4 or 5 yards, and he was punishing people all night. Yeah. And he has that. He just has that motor, and that's what you got to look forward to again this Friday. And what I like is now these guys have a week under their belt. They've conditioned another week, so these guys going both ways have had another hot week of practice.
Yep.
Yeah. And now they get to go back out there and they get to do it all over again.
Well, absolutely. We're excited about the opportunity to play in a good Leesville team at home, and it's going to make us better. In the end, it's going to make us better, and that's all I can ask as a coach. Are we getting better?
Yeah.
And the wins will come eventually.
And speaking for Kenny, man, it's got to be nice to run behind a big offensive line. I mean, these guys, Fogelman had a great night. Byard, they're the unsung heroes, the offensive line. They don't get a lot of credit. Roy had a great night, of course, Tucker. And they don't get a lot of credit, but, man, they do such a good job of pushing back that defensive line and allowing, number one, Case have time to throw the ball in pass coverage, but also opening up lanes for Kenny. So I'm glad to see the offensive line. They come here. They're one of the groups that's pretty much always at the show, and that's because them big fellas like to eat.
That's right. That's 100% right. And I want them to eat. I want them to have a good time also. No, they've done a fantastic job as a group. Like I said, Coach Book and Coach Brumfield, they coached the offensive line, and I think that, we have we have one kid that's 325, and the other one's about 308, and so we're probably averaging about 280 up front, 290 up front, and awesome. So it's just it's a joy to watch them. They're the ones that nobody knows about, but they're the ones that if you're not any good, your team's not going to be any good.
Yeah, they don't get their names called very often unless they do some type of pancake or something like that. But as a dad of a kid that started his whole career, played 90% of his life on that offensive line, you've got to appreciate that, and it makes those running backs look good.
They're special. Some people, they like the limelight and stuff. These guys, they're grunts. They go out there and they work. And they pushing sleds and they're doing all that. They're not walking around with the fancy gloves on sometimes and not, looking pretty. They going to work, and that's a special group of kids.
And they play 100% of the offensive snaps. They don't get a break here and there. These guys, they're out there in the trenches all game long and getting beat up, getting tripped over onto the back of their legs. But man, we appreciate our offensive line for sure.
Yeah, and I thought also, talking about Case staying in the pocket, I thought they gave him, you mentioned a couple weeks ago about that 2.5. I thought they did a great job of giving him an opportunity to throw that ball down the field.
Sure.
And look, he did take some licks now, but for him to have that opportunity, especially with the amount of stunts and blitzes that Sterlington, showed that offensive line, and without panic, they picked it up. They did a great job, and I look forward to talking to Coach Book in that next session, him and Coach Brumfield, because I'm telling you, those two guys have some crazy energy. So that's why those big guys have to have that kind of energy.
It's a shout out between Book and Mooter, and who's the loudest in that room.
I kind of think I know who is, but I'm not.
You were in it last year.
I was in it last year. And the truth is, I'd wear plugs half the time. But, no, I tell you, when you can run the ball, then you can play action pass, or it helps you in your protections. Right. And then, AJ does a good job. If we keep that guy in and we're solid, we can get almost a 7-man protection up there. So there were some things that we do, and go figure, Leesville does the same stuff.
Yeah.
So
that means we practice against it every day.
Yeah, every day they see some of it. So, it comes down to execution at the end of the day of all this stuff. You have to execute and execute at a high level, and you'll be okay.
Yep. Absolutely. So the Leeville Wampus Cats come to the reservation tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Make sure everybody attends. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Book, talk to Coach Brumfield, and if they want to bring some of the offensive linemen, they can. But this is the Reservation Roundup live at Quebedeaux in Pineville. We'll be right back on 446 Sports.
Central Louisiana. This is your home for live sports action. From the field to the court, 446 Sports delivers the games you love with expert commentary and passionate coverage. Cheer for your favorite athletes and relive the moments that define our community spirit. Our sponsors keep us in the game. Together, we bring you the best in local sports coverage. Join the 446 Sports family today. Watch, cheer, celebrate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media.
Are home problems turning your life upside down? Trust Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to save the day. From keeping you comfortable to plumbing repairs and even generators, we do it all. Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, your one-stop solution for AC, plumbing, and generators. If you need us to save the day for you, call Southern Air Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing or visit us online at southernairnow.com.
We've all seen how quickly things can change. Everything from the world around us to the cost of things we use on a daily basis. That's why we all need someone in our corner to keep our family protected while still watching out for our pocketbook. I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. There's no better time than now to complete an insurance review to make sure you're properly covered and not paying too much. Whether it's in our office, at your home, or your place of business, let us help you find peace of mind. If you're in need of your insurance checkup, whether auto, home, or life, talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
Discover golf like never before at Links on the Bayou, Central Louisiana's hidden gem. Welcome to a golf experience like no other. Our Links style design sets the stage for an exciting and unique adventure. 5 distinct tee boxes cater to every skill level, ensuring a game that's perfect for you. And when you're ready to refuel, head to Becky's Bunker Club for dining with a view and gear up in our pro shop. Ready to elevate your golfing experience? Tee off at Links on the Bayou today. Links on the Bayou, redefining the way you enjoy golf.
Firehouse Subs just partnered with Hot Ones to create 2 new hook and ladder subs.
One with pickles marinated in Last Dab Reaper sauce to test yourself.
And a milder one with crispy garlic chips if tests aren't really your thing.
Find out how hot you like it for a limited time at Firehouse Subs.
During National Cataract Awareness Month, Wallace Eye Associates is joining the American Academy of Ophthalmology to help prevent blindness by offering complimentary cataract screenings. If you're over 65 and noticing unusual changes in your vision, our free screenings can help determine if you have cataracts. Call us today to schedule your complimentary cataract screening. When it's time for cataract surgery, there's only one team, one focus, your vision. Wallace Eye Associates.
Yeah, so what happened out there tonight?
We struck out at home with leftovers, then we remembered walk-ons.
What effect did the situation have?
Spirit soared. Nick took on a burger. Jen obliterated her ribeye po' boy. And speaking of spirits, Laura even scored a real tasty cocktail. She needed that.
Any lessons learned today?
Yeah. Head straight to walk-ons.
Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers, and cocktails. Walk-ons for the win.
Central Louisiana. This is your home for live sports action. From the field to the court, 446 Sports delivers the games you love with expert commentary and passionate coverage. Cheer for your favorite athletes and relive the moments that define our community spirit. Our sponsors keep us in the game. Together, we bring you the best in local sports coverage. Join the 446 Sports family today. Watch, cheer, celebrate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the Reservation Roundup live at Quebedeaux here in Pineville. This is a 446 Sports production here of the Coaches Show every Thursday night, 7 p.m. here at Quebedeaux for Tioga football. We got two of the other coaches. Coach Christman's eating over there, so he's relaxing. He's waving us on. We got Coach Book, Coach Brumfield with us now. And coaches, man, it's great to have you guys on. Appreciate you guys coming on here for this final segment. We're going to talk a little lineman here, giving some love to the guys that don't normally get a lot of love. But before we go into this, I have a very important question. How about Maddox Book with two-point conversions the other night at Red River football, buddy? How proud are you to have your son running the ball?
Well, he was 1 yard away, so we don't know how fast he is.
Coach.
And I know that I've never done that, so he's already way better than me for sure.
Look, he's loving it. He's over there. He's probably gonna be signing autographs and everything out there. So I know. I looked over at you after he made the first one, and you had a big old smile on your face. And I know all these years of you doing the offensive line, and it's nice to see your boy get a little credit on the carry, huh?
Well, Coach O'Brien actually said, Coach, we tried to put him in to score a touchdown. He was like, no, I'd rather just snap the ball. I was like, come on, son. What are we doing? Dad never scored a touchdown, so score a touchdown.
Well, we were proud of him. I was happy to watch. Well, Coach Brumfield, we got a big game coming up here. Leesville Wampus Cats come to the reservation tomorrow night, and I know Coach Christman said that they're very similar in the way a lot of the stuff that they do is. Tell me about the preparation with your guys right here, getting ready for a Wampus Cat game tomorrow night.
Well, it's not really anything new for us. Preparing run game wise, our defense kind of runs the same defense. So, in fall camp, you go against your defense. It's your 1-0 versus your 1D. So, game planning wise, it's just like, guys, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's not going to be anything that we haven't seen for a month before the season. So, they do a couple things a little different, but preparation went good. We're ready.
Yeah, so Coach Book, you same like we talked about. Yeah, like Brumfield just mentioned, it's got to be a similar as far as the as good as our offense is, and we go against that all the time. Your D lines, and it's got to be the same thing. We have a very good defensive line. Your offensive line is they practice against a phenomenal defense every day. So it's got to be very similar in that aspect. But it's all probably a little bit more emotional when you get to hit somebody else in the mouth for a little while.
It is, and the kids try to adjust to it. I think me and Coach Brumfield, we've talked about this before. We give them about a series to fill it out, and then you got to play the game. So, and it's nothing like you said we've seen before. And Coach Muter does a good job of keeping me frustrated at practices, doing different things, maybe something that the opponent doesn't do, but just to do it. So, and it keeps us on our toes, and that's okay. And it actually gets us better, believe it or not. So.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach Brumfield, how have y'all been able to get these four guys that you've brought in with Tucker in the middle as an anchor? How have you gotten these guys in so early on in the season to work together? You look like one solid unit, and you looked amazing Friday night. Tell me what is going into that process?
Well, they bought into what we try to do. We are going to be physical, and we're going to run the football, and they bought into that plan. And it took a little here, took a little there, a lot of film, a lot of adjustments, but now they're working together as a group, and we couldn't be more proud of them. Still got a long ways to go, though.
Coach Book, you've been doing this a long time, and you've had some success with some different linemen coming through. Tioga. Tell me about Tucker, and what is he as that anchor in that middle? What does he help with? You and Coach Brumfield. I'm gonna go ahead and start calling y'all the BB Comics. I watch that. I have to watch TV now with my wife since I'm not coaching. So the Brumfield Book Show. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell us, what does Tucker bring for you guys? How does he help you?
He brings stability. I think everything starts with foundation, and he is the concrete foundation. Him singularly, bringing those guys together, and he's played with all of those linemen that we've had, and kids have come and gone, and he's played with seniors, and he's played with freshmen, and he is the calm in the storm. I get frustrated on stuff, and Coach Brumfield does a good job with it too. Just, hey, Coach, just let it be, and he's a foundational part of all of our success for the most part, as far as bonding and creating a good unit.
Well, Coach, it's got to be fun to have the size that you guys have now. Last few years, the line has not near been as big as what they are right now, and that's got to be a new little wrinkle in there, to have that kind of a luxury, to have so much size and young size. Of course, we know Tucker Landry is that senior, in the middle, but then you have the youth that surrounds him, and man, it's got to be exciting as a coach to have multiple years with some big offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think, we've been blessed just as far as having kids come in. Coach Christman and, Coach Ethan his son does our strength and conditioning. And then obviously there has to have some type of framework, but it doesn't always start that way. So they've been built up over the off season. Linemen work tirelessly in the shadows more probably than other groups, and it shows. That's the work that they've put into it. Coaches get lucky. I've been blessed over my whole career of having kids that just buy into what we want to do, and they are the reason for the success. I'm just, hey, we're trying to block this way, that way, but if they don't do it, then we're not successful. So whatever I do is irrelevant. So.
Yeah. Coach Brumfield, it takes a special young man to be in the trenches every game, not get your name called out unless you do something bad. So it's admirable for you guys to even get them to buy into what, to that selflessness type of deal that they have, it to be a lineman and never hear their name called, never really score a touchdown, never do this and all that. But you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Tell me a little bit about, is there some of the guys that's really stepped up this year, even the starters, because they're young, some guys that just kind of really progressed very, very good?
Yeah, I mean, so what sets these guys apart is, during the summer, it's hot. Football's a long ways away. We would stay after summer workouts on Tuesday and Thursday, get a little extra work in, and these guys kept showing up. There was never an excuse to not be there. Let's say me and Coach Book would say, it's Thursday. We got some good work in this week. Y'all can take the day off if y'all want to. We don't have to stay after and work. And they said, no, Coach, we want to work.
That's
We're
awesome.
here. We want to work. So, with the guys that have developed into our starting offensive linemen, we've also had some younger guys that are shaping up that could eventually step into that role. And if, God forbid, you don't want anything to happen, we have guys that have developed enough to be able to get in there for a couple snaps if we need it.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to keep you guys here just for a second. We're gonna have a little giveaway here every Thursday night here at Quebedeaux. Quebedeaux, they're so good. Not only do they feed us, they got us all the food that you see up here, but they also do some giveaways. So I'm going to have the mic real quick. If I can give it to this young man, he's going to take care of that and announce our winner here at Quebedeaux tonight. Go ahead. Take it away, my friend. Let me see. I think we got it. Let's turn it. Make sure we got you on. You are good to go now, sir. Go ahead.
My name is Jaden Roy. I'll be announcing the winner for the hat tonight at Quebedeaux.
All right.
The winner for the hat tonight is Jeff Laborde. Congratulations.
Hey, Jeff, congratulations. Jeff's got a head like me and Coach Scully, so we need all the hats that we can get. So thank you, brother, for coming, man. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, guys, here.
I appreciate y'all having
Thank
me
you,
on.
man. Appreciate it. Thank you to Quebedeaux again. Everett, so come out. Now, you can only win the hat if you're here. They're not going to give it to you if you come and leave. So if you're here, and we're going to do it around that 7:50 every Thursday night. Going back to you guys, man, what a big game last week. Of course, Sterlington, the returning state champion. Then we turn around, and that schedule doesn't get any easier. It's against a Leesville Wampus Cats team that last year ran for God knows how many yards. You and I talked, Coach Brumfield, a little bit. Had Ford come in there, and he just had himself a night. And we were in that game. It was just haymaker after haymaker. I know you guys are excited to have another game at the reservation to set some things straight, because last week's the score didn't dictate that game by any means. We were the better team 90% of that game, and then just a few plays here and there kind of changed the outcome of that game. But tell me what the mindset right now for your O-line on how excited they are to block for like a Kenny Ponche or give protection to a Case Malone.
Well, I told them in film, we watch film every Wednesday, and I told them we're not in it for moral victories. We did this right. Well, guess what? You still lost. You had 3 series back to back to back that you punted. Not one thing lost the game.
Right.
So, because we're a unit, just as far as offensive line. So I try to use that as the entire scope when we watch film. and they're hungry. That they actually surprised me. Week one, and I think that's the buzz and what we were talking about that in the coach's office. That's probably the hardest I've seen the Indians play week one since I've been here. This is 8 years for me. Not knocking anybody or anything.
Yeah.
I've been coaching here just as anybody else, and the kids are stretched pretty thin, and there's not one kid that's not trying to do something for somebody else, and that really embodies what the O-line is, but the whole team is doing it.
What impressed me the most on Friday night was the discipline. Again, I'm not knocking anything or anybody, but in the past, Tioga has had a lot of penalties, and the discipline wasn't. I'm telling you, it was the flip side. Sterlington was the one having all the trouble with the false starts, and to me that pays dividends the way you guys are coaching, the mindset that you guys have this year of a completely different, like a new era, in other words, coming in, and love the fact that you guys there wasn't very few false starts. We had the one little hiccup with the little fight on the field with blood's rolling and it's pumped up, but the discipline this year I've just been so impressed with, and that kudos to you guys on that offensive line.
Well, and the other aspect of it too, just to add into it more so, I've never had kids that actually come into the locker room and say, "Coach, man, I'm ready to play." Like, there's no motivational. Coach Christman, you've had him on the show twice. It's hard to get him to talk, or he might say the same thing over and over and over again. I'm talking bad about him because he talked bad about me.
I like it. I love it.
Shots fired. I've coached with him for a little while.
Shots fired.
So, but they're hungry. They're hungry to prove something. And this group has had roller coasters. They've been on teams where we've been very successful, and then last year we weren't quite as successful. So I think all the seniors that we have are showing more leadership than I've seen in the past. Not, like I said, not knocking anybody. We've had great leaders here at Tioga High School, but it just seems not in just one position group. It's not just the line. It's the linebackers. It's the secondary. It's Curvin. Curvin's playing defense. Yeah. Angelo's playing defense. Tucker's playing defense. AJ's playing tight end. Yeah. Bryson Falls playing tight end. So there's a lot of pieces that are making both sides, or even all three phases, very successful, and it's a lot of unselfishness. So.
Coach Rumfield, another question for you, because I love the fact that one thing I noticed Friday night, the linemen, we talked about cramping. Never saw those guys put their hands on their hips.
That's right.
Never saw them put them on. What are y'all doing to keep these guys with that kind of energy? And those are some big boys. Now, what are you doing to keep them with that kind of energy for 4 quarters? And they were fighting the entire time.
One of the things me and Coach Book really harp on these guys is you're going to practice as hard as you possibly can. I mean, why would you not practice hard if you expect to go as hard as you possibly can on Friday night? So if you're going to practice as hard as you can, it's obviously going to get you in shape. And you obviously just got to keep their energy up. We like to have a mentally tough approach with them. If you're asking to come out, a lot of times
that's not a good sign. Yeah,
it's no, you're not. You're going back in.
Right.
Yeah. But we approach it that way, and the guys love it. It makes them more mentally tough and physically tough.
Well, and that's what we were talking about with Sterlington. The amount of times an illegal procedure calls it. From a player standpoint, you mentally break down. Your guys never broke down. You didn't have silly penalties. You didn't have penalties. Everything y'all did, you controlled it for the most part. And to see those guys, and again, this is their first time really together under the lights at home at the reservation with an unbelievable crowd, a great showing on. And just to see them, never check up. You're running fast and wide. That's an offense that takes a lot out of guys, and you're trying to run 80 plays a game, and those guys never miss a beat.
The last drive of the game, we kind of stalled out there on the 4. There's not a whole lot of plays we can run with 8 seconds left and no timeouts on the 4-yard line.
On the 4-yard line.
But we told them in the huddle before the drive started, we said, guys, this is a 2-possession game. 16 points, score, get a 2-point conversion, kick an onside kick, get the ball back. You never know what could happen. And they were like, all right, Coach, let's go get it. Let's go get it. So
I'm telling you, it was so much fun to watch. Again, the score did not dictate the way that game was played, the game that finished. Very impressed with this Tioga team. excited about the season that's going to be upon us. So tomorrow night, please pack the house at the reservation. We got back-to-back home games, and then we travel far, far, far to go to Pineville next week. But right now, it's all about Leesville. So make sure you come and watch the game at the reservation. You watch 446 when you get home. When you see all those touchdowns scored, you can go back there and you can clip them and do all that. But make sure you pack the house at the reservation. We want to hear you. We want to hear the sounds of the crowd. I told Coach Scully, there's nothing better for me because we're up above the stands and we're looking down. Nothing better for me than watching someone sitting in the stands with their phone out, watching 446 Sports or listening to us while the game's going on. That's what we want. We want the butts in the seats. And then, you can go back and watch us. So we appreciate everybody. We appreciate Coach Christman for coming in. He's eating a steak right now. He's tearing it up. Thank Coach Brumfield. Thanks, Coach Book. I can't wait to hear Coach Book tomorrow night in the press box. If you hear any noise in the background, it's probably Coach Book just quietly whispering to his offensive line. Are you on the sidelines?
I am.
So is he relating? Are y'all talking?
Absolutely.
There's three coaches up there.
Oh, my goodness.
There's no talking.
You don't know who it is.
Billy, there's no talking coming out of him. It's all screaming. It's
yelling.
max effort up there in that box.
I love it. We can't wait to hear it. You're going to hear it tomorrow night. And make sure you come out here. Look, again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to Quebedeaux for hosting the Reservation Roundup every Thursday night. Big game tomorrow night. Tioga's going to come in there and get that W and get our first win of the season here on week 2. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Shane, for behind the camera. We appreciate all he does. Thank you, Coach Scully, look, y'all might not know it, but I appreciate Coach Thomas Scully so much. I don't have to ask 50 questions in a row. I have someone that can try and that knows the game that can do it. So thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate you've always given me a break. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. See you tomorrow night at the reservation. This is a 446 Sports production of the Reservation Roundup at Quebedeaux. Thank you. God bless.